Temperatures can plummet to -89 degrees Celsius. Snowstorms whip across the barren, ice-choked terrain at speeds of up to 300 kilometers per hour. Antarctica is the driest, coldest, and windiest continent on the planet. This map shows a geopolitical paradox. There are no indigenous human populations here, and the environment is openly hostile to life. Yet for over a century, global superpowers have carved the continent into pie-shaped territorial claims. Notice how the boundaries drawn by countries like the UK, Chile, and Argentina actually overlap, laying claim to the exact same stretches of ice. Through the 1930s and 40s, nations aggressively raced to secure these slices of the map. They established permanent research bases to solidify a physical footprint. In 1939, Nazi Germany even flew planes over the continent, dropping metal swastikas into the snow to mark the territory as their own. By the 1950s, the rush to plant flags in an unlivable desert had pushed the world's most heavily armed nations into a dangerous standoff. The escalating territorial greed required an immediate diplomatic intervention before the Cold War could spill onto the ice. In 1959, 12 governments signed the Antarctic Treaty. The agreement mandated that the entire continent would be used strictly for peaceful scientific research. But the treaty has a deliberate loophole. Those original claimant nations never actually abandoned their borders. They simply agreed to temporarily suspend them, refusing to recognize each other's territories while quietly waiting out the clock. Beneath the contested surface, a different map is being drawn. Researchers are actively drilling miles through the ice sheet to reach secrets at the bottom. The continent's ultimate value lies in the geological and biological lath trapped under nearly 5 kilometers of frozen weight. This cross-section illustrates researchers drilling deep into 4.7-kilometer-thick ice sheets, extracting long cylinders undisturbed for millennia. Notice the microscopic air bubbles trapped inside. By analyzing these sealed gases, scientists reconstruct Earth's climate cycles stretching back 1,000,000 years. This massive sheet of untouched ice also catches and preserves material falling from the sky. When rocks and debris from space crash into the isolated continent, the stark white, freezing environment keeps them all perfectly intact. This is ALH 84001, a heavily scrutinized meteorite discovered beneath the surface. It formed on Mars 4.5 billion years ago. Researchers analyzing it found evidence of water-based minerals and microfossils, offering clues that the red planet once supported liquid water and even life. By capturing ancient atmospheric gases and neighboring planetary debris, the upper layers of Antarctica function as a biological and cosmic hard drive, preserving physical data that has been erased everywhere else on Earth. If you push the drills down 500 meters, the solid white expanse breaks. The ice gives way to a hidden network of flowing, pitch-black rivers. When researchers dropped cameras into these dark, freezing subglacial waters, they found them actively teeming with life. Thousands of small shrimp-like crustaceans, known as amphipods, were swimming through the strong subglacial currents. This topographical diagram reveals what sits beneath those rivers, at the very bottom of the ice. This is the Gambardseff mountain range. It stretches for 1,200 kilometers, with peaks up to 3,000 meters high. Because Antarctica lacks the tectonic plate movement that normally builds mountains, scientists believe these were formed by massive upwellings of magma from deep within the Earth. Wedged into the bedrock beneath those peaks, scientists extracted something deeply out of place: fossilized tree roots and pollen dating back 90 million years to the Cretaceous period. Finding a prehistoric jungle at the bottom of the world suggests Antarctica was once a lush, vibrant environment. That biological history left a massive chemical legacy behind. Over 90 million years, immense pressure compresses this ancient jungle into massive underground pockets of oil and natural gas. The U.S. Geological Survey estimates 19 billion barrels are buried here, while Russian explorers project up to 500 billion barrels beneath the bedrock. This colossal reservoir of fossil fuels is precisely why those 7 nations from the 1950s map refused to let their overlapping borders go. By operating permanent science stations directly on top of these potential reserves, they are holding their place in line. They are waiting for the legal barriers to fall. Right now, the only thing keeping drills out of the bedrock is the 1991 Madrid Protocol. This international agreement explicitly bans any mining or oil extraction on the continent. But that legal protection has an expiration date. The Antarctic Treaty system is set to be reviewed and potentially dissolved in the year 2048. At the same time, global temperatures are rising. As the thick ice sheets melt and recede, the costs of extracting oil will rapidly drop. In 2048, the global superpowers will face a deadline. They must decide whether to renew the peace and leave Earth's oldest time capsule intact, or carve up the melting ice to extract the billions of barrels hidden at the bottom of the world.